Good evening. At this time, we'll call to order the City of Milton Council meeting, June 12, 2023. Please rise for the pledge to the flag and a moment of silent prayer. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Okay, at this time, I'll ask Mr. Slavy to do roll call.
Councilman Milburn,
Yes, here.
Councilwoman Mashinsky, Councilwoman Moyer.
Here.
Councilwoman Ennis.
Here.
Mayor Ulrich,
Here.
4 present, 1 absent.
Do we have any acknowledgements?
No, sir.
Okay, any bids,
No, sir.
correspondence?
No, I read all the correspondence at the Wednesday meeting, workshop.
All right, citizens' comments contingent upon business listed on the agenda.
Hi, Mayor and Council.
Morning, or evening, Mr. Lishansky.
Joe Lashinsky, 518 East Pine. We have an update on why Mrs. Lashinsky isn't here.
She had a family situation.
Unbelievable. The reason I say that is because there's under the solicitor's report, and I know it's the first reading and nothing's concrete tonight, but the first reading of ordinance 23, whatever. First of all, it says a home rule charter to be put on November 2023 general election ballot. In 19, I was a proponent against this. In 21, I was a proponent against this. Former mayor and current mayor were next to me on those two issues. You can't put a home rule charter on a ballot without forming a study commission. So I think the wording on that's incorrect. Secondly, I would ask that we table that vote tonight, because that one vote that's missing here could be the difference of this passing the first reading or failing the first reading. I think that I understand it's not you personally pushing this here, but the state has come here twice and proposes to voters. They voted it down. We're taught to, in the process of elections, to respect the voters, respect people's votes. I could see if it was close, but it wasn't close either time. And I don't see what it does for anybody here or having faith in our government to try to force this down somebody's throat a third time. I understand there's letters out to representatives, there's letters out to past, to Gordner, Mosser, who could have done something for this, chose not to respond. Senator or Representative Stir downtown, letter said she was public about her view of helping us in certain areas in Shamokin. We have Senator Culver. I mean, something else I think has got to give here, but I don't think that this is the route to go, because I don't think this puts a lot of trust in anybody as far as citizens to the government here. I'm asking that you table it because, like I said, there was 2 members sitting here that ran on principles against it, and a third vote that I believe would would cancel that first reading, potentially. And then what is the social media policy?
The social media policy, in a nutshell, is basically saying that any official news comes out of the city, subject to the city administrator. So everybody could have their own social media, say whatever it is that they want, but the official news comes out of the city of Shamokin. It also allows the city, if there was somebody who was making comments that were, you know, profanity laced, bigotry, homophobic, you know, we have a right to censor those types of comments if they try to comment on our social media on something we had posted. So that's it in a nutshell. But it doesn't take anyone's elected First Amendment rights away from them. But it's just saying the official document notice comes out of the city of Shamokin. Or if somebody wants to submit something, the city administrator would review it and see if that's okay. So it's not one department head that won't be able to make policy, it has to come through the city. So that's kind of it.
Just one thing to circle back on that home rule charter thing again. Like I said, I think Ryan and his team should be doing a lot more to help us in the situation that we're in. They've been here for many years. We've given that law firm and the firms he works with millions of dollars through, whether it's through grant, legal research, things like that. And I feel like we're not getting much of anything in return. CEDACOG's been amazing since they've been here. And if it wasn't for CEDACOG on a lot of this, we wouldn't have most of the stuff we have here. But I just think that Jim and Ryan and them could do a better job instead of keep telling us that we got to keep attacking taxpayers. I think there's a lot of ways we can generate revenue. I think there's ways we can increase and then cut certain fat out of budgets. I worked on that a little bit while I was here, and I got 3 months. I gave it out. That was all I got. So maybe one day that'll change.
All right.
Mr. Lisinski, I'm personally going to ask you if you would really do your best to rethink your position on the study commission. I know people have very strong feelings about home rule, but as the study commission was explained to us, and I think, you know, some of us, you know, people have had a change of heart. If you really would take a second or third or fourth look at what, I can't answer whether this was a mistake to put the phrase home rule. But what I'm asking you is to just kind of give it a second, a third, or whatever you're doing, a fourth look as far as the study commission, and we'll discuss whether we can amend that phrasing here or how that looks. I'm not sure.
Sure. The reason I'm, if I may, respectfully, it was told to us after the last time it failed, it wouldn't be allowed in the ballot for 4 years. After it failed the second time, within a year and a half, you know, here we are again. But as far as the study commission, if and I understand there was a third question that wasn't used, maybe that's the technicality. But as far as the study commission, and if it is passed tonight, I will be a candidate for that commission again. What do you think 7 people are going to be able to come up with that the 5 elected or appointed can't do here? I mean, I understand the goal is to go home rule, take the cap off the EIT. That's the main goal. It's the main goal. If it wasn't, we wouldn't even be talking about it, which is what worries me. We have a declining tax base. We have an elder tax base. We have people who still reside in their homes that are elderly, disabled, unemployed. And even the people, like this affects the people who are employed. I don't think it's fair to continue to keep strapping them after it's been done. But I don't think 7 people. I mean, does that mean I have the power to come in here if it's done? What do I have the power to do? Do we have information? Am I able to come into City Hall and go through Mr. Slavy's cabinets and say, this is what I want to look at, and I'm here to study government? When I ran, I said I would form this on its own. What's the technicality of forming a board that could give you guys advice? I think we've had many boards here over the years that gave advice. I mean, we were told we were getting 2 hotels here, and they're the biggest dilapidated buildings in the city.
If I can just touch on what you're asking, okay, about the 7-member board. It is, you know, naturally 7 independent individuals to study information in regards to how the city operates under the third-class city code, that was set in stone by, our leaders in Harrisburg years ago. From what I gather from Monmouth City, okay, up the road, they just went from home rule to the adopting a charter. You supposedly will be provided with any information that is relevant to going over to the home rule charter from the Pennsylvania Economy League, from Act 47. I don't know how in-depth it will be, Joe,
I think there's a lot of questions,
but
that's
you
why
would think
I've
that
questioned the entire way.
there's gonna have to be a lot of information. I can't serve on that board, but if I had an opportunity to sit there, you said, Bob, will you sit on that board? I certainly would have a lot of questions. And you and others at this time should have questions. I can't sit here and honestly tell you what is going to be provided if this goes through. Again, the public is still gonna have control of this institution.
What I'm saying is they did twice. It was voted, it wasn't like it was like 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 70
I
votes.
understand that, but they have come back on me and city council and said, because we thought the same thing, that we were out of it, that there wasn't enough time. And if we don't do what we're doing now, we're gonna miss the boat and we're not going to, and we are scheduled to come out of this next year in August. So if the city doesn't act, I don't want them turning around slapping our hands because we did nothing. That's why I'm asking council to move ahead with this and see where it takes.
I think, and I've been part of those meetings that we had here, and I don't, if we're still here, they tried this since 2018, it was advertised, 2019, we're on a ballot. I mean, you're talking 5.5 years,
Yeah.
and we still have questions. How much is it gonna cost? How much power does this board have? What do they, what can they, can't they do? What, I just don't understand what,
And I do
and I,
agree
the
with
only,
you. I do agree with you.
the only, I just, like I said, I know, Bill, that
I've asked a lot of times,
they
On
should
what
be here
is this gonna
answering the
cost?
questions. And when they
And-
come, they're rude,
not giving any answers.
they're ignorant. If you don't agree with what they say, you know, you're sat down, you're told to stop. I mean, the last meeting they were here, the guy talked for 45 minutes and, you know,
I mean,
after,
if the city does not make a good faith effort,
he did twice.
Joey, I hear you, okay? I'm not illiterate, I can count. Yes, they've done it twice. Now the Act 47 coordinator is saying, Mr. Ulrich, members of council, Mr. Slavy, we want you to do this. We do nothing, and I can't answer this question either. What is gonna happen to the city in August of 2024?
Every report I've seen when I was here or gotten word from them publicly, City of Shamokin's doing great. Have you ever told them they've never told you
So
you're
the
doing
city
good?
of Shamokin is
We're doing great, we're doing phenomenal, but if you don't do this, and this,
Yes, and I've gone 7 years without getting the trend at the end of the year because we have finished each year with some money in our hands, something that the city of Shamokin forgot how to do prior to 2015 and 2016. If the people of Shamokin will make a decision. All I'm trying to get accomplished is so that no one turns around and says Bob is refusing to cooperate with the Act 47 coordinator with this DCED. I have got to convince him and the rest to move forward and try it. If it gets turned down, Joe, it gets turned down. I don't know what's gonna happen in August of 2024. I do know if you shut off that 2% at EIT, I
I
don't
would
know
certainly
how
get
I'm
with the
going to
one
manage it.
downtown and say, hey, we need this, and other municipalities that have fallen in the same boat as us. Have we gotten any responses back from any of those letters?
No, and that's very.
It's like we're on an island with no country.
And that's very discouraging. The man sent out 300 letters and no one has at least.
Let's push the
acknowledged that they
issue.
got the letter.
Let's get to Harrisburg, let's get on the floor. I think that's our own, if they don't wanna read our mail, then I think Shamokin needs to make itself present in Harrisburg. To the people that are getting us grants through the representatives, I almost feel like we were called almost like leeches in the newspaper for all the grant money we got.
I agree.
But people are here busting their rear ends every day to make the ends meet, and the people who are elected and making a lot of money to represent us don't seem to have any interest. If that's the case, maybe next year we need to look for somebody who will represent us in
Well,
that
I
fashion.
haven't even heard from our representative.
She got parking spaces and everything. You know, you give and give and give,
And Bob jumped right on that for her to help.
I know.
Take a couple of days to help them.
Those mistakes happen.
But anyway,
We'll see.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, thank you.
thank you. Joe, you did sign the sign.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I've also signed in, Jesse Storm. I just kind of want to reiterate what Joe, for 15 minutes, kind of laid out. Again, the question on here is home rule charter to be put on the November 23rd general election ballot. And if that's the ordinance, I believe that we need everybody to vote no to it, because we have to start with creating the panel first, and then have the government study done, and then put the home rule charter on the ballot. The reason why there's three.
Jesse, if I can just stop you there, let Mr. Greco and I and the council, we need to get this accomplished, or we cannot do anything as far as getting it to the county, because we only have so many weeks that allows us to do this, and if we don't do this like ASAP, we're gonna miss the boat. And I don't want Harrisburg, and I don't want that 47 coordinator being critical of him or council or myself. And that's what will happen if we don't move this along.
We'll just have to go to amend the wording and then post a new agenda.
Yeah, have a special
Worry about,
meeting.
because it doesn't say study commission.
That's that is really what this ordinance is doing, submitting the vote for the commission. It
Yeah.
doesn't
Well,
say-
that's what they're questioning. It doesn't say a study commission.
that-
It just says
Is it
voting on
irrelevant?
home rule.
That's a minor deviation, and this is only the first reading, the motion to authorize the advertising. We're not voting on it, we're not submitting it automatically. So that's just paraphrasing what the ordinance in and of itself is saying. The ordinance states authorizing the Montgomery County Board of Elections to submit to the electors of the city of Shamokin the question of electing the Government Study Commission at the November 7th, 2023 general election. I mean, I will read it in my.
And Mr. Slady, your response was that we got to do something, and we've had to do something for a long time, and we've done nothing for a long time. We've tried things, but we kept trying the same things over and over again. What I would ask our council to do is look at places like the city of York, where they have an industrial or a commercial zone, and there's the city of York is not home rule, and they are a third-class city just like us, and they have a special tax for their commercial zone. And that's based off of increased use of trash, increased use of other things. Secondly, bring municipal trash hauling into the city. York City makes a lot of money every year, charging every resident only $25 a month for trash service. That's cheaper than what we do now, because they bid it out as a big bid, and they bid each quarter, and presently Republic of York is the only bidder on, and it won all the bids for the entire every ward, and the city actually makes several dollars off of each and every trash bill. The residents pay the trash bill into the city pays the Republic, and they make money off of that. So there are things that we can do.
Jesse, and that is a good idea. And I seem to recall before I came here, and I don't know if there's anybody that will remember, Mrs. Kendall,
I know,
Mr.
I
Klinger
don't remember.
will recall this room being packed with people supporting the independent trash haulers. There were people on move for the city to go into the trash business. And am I correct?
You're
This
correct.
place was mobbed with people in opposition to that because they were gonna take jobs away from the locals here in Shamokin.
Well, you guys had mobs go to the polls and say, we don't want,
Well, Jesse, I understand,
So
but I
if-
just want to say that you have a good idea. That was a good idea, but it never flew.
yeah, I mean, but we haven't tried that again recently. Why don't we try other things that can produce this instead of going to a position where the next 5 people that sit here control our destiny? Because again, you can have 5 people on that panel that don't care what these people out here say and do whatever they want to do, just like in downtown Philadelphia, where they're paying a lot in EIT tax. Business privilege to work tax is something else that we could look at for those individuals who work within the city. New York City currently has a $50 a year privilege to work tax that they charge on everybody who works within their city. Whether that they're coming from Lancaster to York to work, or whether they're coming from Cole Township to Shamokin to work.
It works well.
So-
Mount Carmel Township has a trash tax and it works very well and has been very successful over the years.
Yeah, I mean,
It has been.
so I think there are a lot of good
People
opportunities to
do
look
have
at.
Ideas, but you've got to remember, the city had no money, could not borrow any money. The subject ended up going down to Harrisburg, to DCED. Their responsibility is to rescue these communities out here in the Commonwealth. And they did what they were supposed to do. Come out here and they put a plan together. Shouldn't say the only, but the biggest problem is that come August of 2024, am I supposed to shut the lights off and put a for sale sign in the front door that we're done, we're out of business? Jesse, I don't know what is going to happen, other than we're gonna run out of money, and if we run out of money, we're gonna be in the same predicament that guy, this lady, those people over there experienced in 2013. And that was, they didn't have 2 nickels to rub together.
Maybe we could take a look at the first plan that was given to mayor and council, that they didn't follow.
Oh, that was in 2013, that wasn't the Act 47, that was when you reached out
That
to,
was
Pennsylvania
Yes.
economy.
It was
I have a
before.
copy of that.
Yes.
I have that.
Well, if they would, I have come to, if they would have listened and done some of those things, we would have gotten that reset. So
I
maybe we
agree.
could review that.
but the government of the city of Shamokin totally ignored the recommendations, and you ended up not having any money. This lady, Mr. Kinder, yourself, Mr. Milbrand, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, I'm not giving you a line of bull, ask them what they were going through in 2013.
Mr. Mayor, we have 2 payments left on the loan that balanced us, correct? One payment left. And that one payment is how much?
$116,300.
So when that comes out, the 400,000 we saved, we've kind of buffered about $500,000 between what we saved on the increases to pensions, the 150,000 there. I mean, we're making strides. We're going someplace. But can we look at other directions and control our own destiny as the people here, and not let future people control a destiny that was never meant to go? That's why I stood in opposition.
For Mr. Ulrich and others, that's fine and dandy, okay? However, why can't we have the same consideration? And I don't mean to throw stones at other communities, but what about the city of Harrisburg, okay? Lackawanna County, okay, or I'm sorry, the city of Scranton, they were the poster child for home rule for how many years? Okay, and we're in that section of 5 years, and again, I hate to keep repeating myself, but we're gonna be on the outside looking in come August of 2024. Does anybody, the guy sends out 300 some letters, nobody even acknowledged, nobody, including the state representative for this area.
Well, I'll tell you that I'm willing to volunteer my service for free. I'm willing to volunteer my service for free. What you guys don't know is I'm a registered lobbyist also, on top of all the rest of my day jobs and my night jobs. I'm a registered lobbyist. Create a letter. I will take it down personally to Harrisburg and put it in every senator and House reps mail bin that the lobbyists have special access to. I get responses as a lobbyist quicker than the general public get, but it's not something that I promote that I do.
Would it have hurt if somebody, and I'm not gonna say names, could have at least called the mayor and said, hey, I see, I got a copy of your letter, et cetera, et cetera? No.
They don't, they generally don't.
Well, he puts his pants on the same as you and me and others in this group, one leg at a time.
Yep, some of us jump into the pants and buttons up in the morning, we move that fast. But anyway, that's all I have. I need to run to
I'm sorry.
I need to run to the mayor's RDA board meeting now because that's at 6:30 in 5 minutes. So thank you guys and have a blessed day.
Good. Okay,
It is what it is, that's how I feel.
all right, we'll take care of the minutes next meeting.
Yes, sir.
You have any bills?
The bills are being paid as they are every month. And we
Okay.
close each month, just ratify the administrative transactions. I will have the bill list at next month's meeting.
All right, director's reports. You have 37.
Okay.
Accounts and finance.
General fund balance, $495,222.08. Liquid fuels balance, $234,135.79. Library balance, $697,399.16. Total sinking fund number one debt service balance, $213,962.21. Total recreation balance, $368,895.46. Total street lighting balance, $17,501.72. Total American Legion balance, $547.38. Total neighborhood mitigation fund balance, $37,758.35. Total code department credit card balance, $5,367. Total police department credit card balance, $4,049.01. For a total balance in all accounts to May 1st, 2023, $2,074,838.16 submitted by our city treasurer, Brendan Scanlon.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Parks and public buildings. You're good?
Yeah, almost.
Oh.
I said this at the workshop, but I do want to say that in a more public meeting, I met with Larry and our pool staff last week, and everything was a go. Today was opening day. Unfortunately, the weather didn't cooperate. I stopped over this morning and just to make sure that there wasn't any last minute issues. Everybody, everything seemed to be in very good shape. I also wanted to mention that I've been making it a habit to pass the Second Street playground and just to take a look at who's going there. Is it being utilized? And a couple of times that I went by, I was really happy to see that a lot of smaller children were using the equipment that we put in there. And there were older kids, children, playing basketball. It was a good thing to see. So I thank the street department again for, installing everything and so forth. I'm also reminding, as I did at the workshop, that anyone who has rented or has arranged to use Clark Taylor Park, please clean up your trash, bag it, and if you are opening the bathrooms, if you've arranged to do that, you are responsible for cleaning them up at the end of your event. Please don't let dirty bathrooms or leave dirty bathrooms for the next group. Appreciate that. What else? Oh, we had our Music in the Park opening concert. It was great. The duo that we had, I was not familiar with. They were very talented. We had a nice little turnout, and so if you haven't been to a concert before, if you have, please come back and patronize the city of Chinook and its music endeavors. That's it, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Public safety. Public safety. Oh,
For the month of May,
From the fire department, we provided 9 service calls, we had 14 fire calls, 4 fire alarms, and I still have to get together with the fire chief and see what's the difference between fire calls and fire alarms. He has me a little confused. 1 hazardous conditions call, rescue and emergency services, responded to 11. There were 2 special incidents and 1 severe weather call. And out of those, there was 2 actual working fires. And we gave mutual aid to several communities 12 times. The total 42 calls for the month in the fire department. From the code office side, we did $1,320 worth of rent revenue. Parking permits were $1,065, and other permits, including third-party inspector and excavating permits, for a total of $9,883.17. Total revenue collected from the code office was $12,268.17. They addressed 114 complaints, issued 6 code tickets. 136 notices of violations were sent out. There were 40 citations written, 15 landlord tenant inspections were completed. 2 were posted unfit. Now that's not necessarily landlords. There are 2 properties posted unfit, and they responded to 6 fire calls and gave 17 warnings. That's it from the code office. I just want to take this opportunity in my little section here just to let everyone know. After hearing all of the issues on the Act 47, the home rule charter, I just want everybody to know that right from the beginning of all of this, I've taken a stand on this. And I'm not going to back down from the stand that I've originally taken. I think that the whole Act 47 program is kind of a boilerplate program that they give to every community in distress. Nobody's done it, not really done it that individualized. Everybody pretty much has the same program right down the line. And I'm still of the opinion that with a simple change to third class city code, that this can be resolved. And I've asked, and I've asked, and I've asked time and time and time and time again. When everybody says, well, you just can't do that. Nobody has given me, if somebody can give me a legitimate reason why we can't change that third class city code, give me a legitimate reason.
Well, you know, I don't disagree with you. You know, we've had this discussion many times. The discouraging part about it for everybody who's here and you, Councilman, 300 letters. You know, and you, I know, have personally contacted and talked to people. It's the most frustrating thing.
As soon as
The
I
most frustrating.
As soon as I get a legitimate reason why the code cannot be changed. Because I know when I first served on council, the third class city code was changed. It was changed to adjust the real estate taxes and what could be levied as far as real estate taxes. What could be levied as far as real estate taxes. And the change was made back then. It was made to add an extra 5 mils for real estate taxes, which added an extra 5 mils to the distressed communities if you went before the judge. And that's what I propose, to do the same thing with the earned income tax. First of all, if you do that, the only one that's affecting is the working people. The people who are living on fixed income or the retirees aren't going to be affected by this. And as Bob said, the extra percent that we added to the real estate tax is what's keeping us going, keeping us afloat. And And it's really not affecting our working class around town, and we're really not raising taxes, we're not doing anything. A simple change. Please, somebody, come and tell me why we can't make that change. And that's the only way that I would give in to possibly changing my mind on this.
And I don't
Until then,
disagree with you, Councilman.
until then, my
Travis,
mind is set.
I seriously
And
think
I'm
that
sorry.
we should go to Harrisburg.
I'm sorry, and that's my opinion. So, took my little opportunity to say that. Sorry I got off the report, but I had to say that.
I just, Councilman Over, I have a quick question. Did you, and I can't remember, I think we talked about the request from the rescue for those fans. Did you see that? Okay.
No, we did, I think I spoke with you, Bob. Yeah, and I didn't get any requests from them whatsoever.
All right.
From any of the other things that I authorized, some of the repairs that were made to some of the other equipment in town, and some of the things I authorized. But no, I was never given any kind of request from them at all,
Okay.
so.
All right, thank you. Control.
I would cede my time to the treasurer, but she's. I have nothing.
All right, the police report. Juvenile petitions 2, criminal complaints 25, non-traffic citations 9, traffic citations 21, traffic warnings 3, parking tickets 484, parking citations 0, sweeper tickets 295. And yes, I was one of them. Code tickets 20, abandoned citations 0, total call 1,435, miles patrolled 4537. So that is the police report. Now, under new business. Oh, she did what? She went to the.
It looks like we're both out, Linda. I have nothing, sir.
Okay, see the car.
I have something, sir.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm here on behalf of Ms. Betsy Kramer, who is going with her son to the airport for the final goodbyes. He goes back into the Air Force. And I just want to let everyone know that she did prepare her June report. You have it at the table here, and there are also copies of it on that table if anyone wants to read it. And I will do my best to answer any questions, and if I can't answer them, I will take them back to her and make sure that they get answered. Secondly, there is a policy and procedure for consultant selection vote. I believe later a document that Betsy gave me a copy of that the solicitor has said will come up for discussion and vote, I believe, later in the meeting.
That would be item number 7 of new business. Betsy has addressed the council.
And I just have a note here that this is required for the $2 million and some odd dollar makeover that Congressman Muser has prepared for the city, and this is required to move forward with that. And then on CDBG business, after your meeting tonight, we have advertised a public meeting for CDBG for the purpose of project selection. So at 7, we will discuss possibilities for using the city's CDBG funds for 2020.
It's very simple.
It is, very simple.
All right,
You're welcome.
thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome, sir.
At this time, can I get motions for items 1 through 7, as listed on the agenda.
I'll make a motion for items 1 through 7 as listed on the agenda.
So I'll second that.
Okay, anything on the question?
On the question number 5, request a motion to approve the updates to the Friendship Fire Company Scholarship on August 19, 2023, closing from Penn Street, Congress, from Liberty to Rock, and the East Hartwell. I was sort of an oversight, I thought the chief of police would be here, and this agenda would be prepared. I thought-
Sorry.
So, these,
So number 5, pending approval by the chief of police.
Yes.
okay, let's do that. And,
So we're gonna review 5.
that's it.
1 through 7 and 5 is subject to approval of chief of police.
All right.
And I'll still make the motion there.
Anything on the question?
You made the motion.
I did.
See, we're recording it, so it's a lot easier to not to watch the recording than it is for me to be the secretary trying to do short. Okay, no questions. Councilman Milburn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Machinsky, Councilwoman Moyer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ennis,
Yes.
Mayor Over.
Yes.
4 days.
Okay, anything under unfinished business?
I just have one question, I forgot, I wanted to bring up with, it's my turn. Do we have an update on the park?
The pocket park?
Yeah,
Okay. I met with Kevin this afternoon in regards to the wording for the sign, and he is going to, proceed in getting those signs made. The cameras, all of that electronic part is done. The recording box up on top there, I'm not sure, I didn't see it, the HP construction, or somebody has that, it's definitely not with me. But
is DOT in soon?
I would like to, if Mr. Kaler.
I was seeing signs.
We're gonna put some heat on you, Mr. Kaler. They're asking me when will I open the park, in Penn Street. How long will it take you to make us like four signs?
Probably there.
Okay,
Okay.
so we could very well have that park open by the end of this week, because everything has now been tied up and, everything is done down there. So,
Thank you, Ron.
on the advice of the police, I was told, don't open it without proper signage, because we may have problems in the magistrate's office.
Okay.
That have been,
I just want the public to know that the letters will be going out this week, the reminder letters for the real estate
but they don't have to pay taxes this year.
that they have.
Oh,
Their state
I thought maybe
mandated letters.
after all the discussion regarding Act 47, you had a different solution.
And anyone who has paid in the meantime, from the time of getting the data together and stuff and envelopes and
To me,
mail.
remind me, say, Bob, taxes. I want to tell you a story about this afternoon.
Okay,
It had to do with the tax office.
okay, that's it, thank you.
Boards and committees.
I don't have anything from any of them. I don't know, maybe the fire trucks, I got maybe the police cars, I would say maybe they're headed to the beach for a week down there, but obviously not.
All right, at this time, the solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mayor. What's listed on the agenda is the first reading of ordinance 23-02, social media policy. The document that I prepared was in a resolution form. That way we could amend it without having to advertise and go through the process. So this would be a resolution.
Resolution instead of ordinance?
Yes. That's how it was prepared. But it's a resolution of the city of Shamokin, Northumberland County, Pennsylvania, establishing a policy, the use of social media platforms in the cities of Shamokin's name. Whereas the city of Shamokin desires to utilize social media to aid dissemination of information to city residents. And whereas the city of Shamokin desires to establish a policy to govern the city's use of social media and to provide guidelines for members of the public to follow when interacting with the city via social media. Now therefore, the council of the city of Shamokin hereby ordain and act as follows. Social media policy, the purpose is to address the fast changing landscape of the internet and the way residents communicate and obtain information online. The city of Shamokin may consider using social media tools to reach a more broad city audience. The city encourages the use of social media to further city goals and missions. This policy establishes guidelines for the use of social media and may be amended at any time by city council. Definition: social media, interactive computer-mediated technologies that facilitate the creation or sharing of information, ideas, and other forms of expression. Authorized users, city officials, agents, officers, staff, and/or employees that have access to the city's social media platforms to make posts in the city's name as designated by the city administrator. Scope: this policy is applicable to all authorized users who contribute to the use of social media in the city's name. Any questions regarding this policy or its implementation should be directed to the city administrator and/or the city solicitor as appropriate. This policy excludes any social media practices that the city of Shamokin Police Department employs for law enforcement purposes. In general provisions: all city social media sites posted by a city will be subject to approval by the city administrator or his or her designee. The city website, shamokincity.org, will remain the city's primary predominant internet presence. The best, most appropriate city social media tools fall generally into two categories: as channels for disseminating time-sensitive information as quickly as possible, i.e. emergency information, cancellations, and/or reschedulings. B, as marketing promotional channels that increase the city's ability to broadcast its message to the widest possible audience. 2, whenever possible, content posted to the city's social media sites will also be available on the city website. Whenever possible, content posted to the city's social media site should contain links directing users back to the city's official website for in-depth information, forms, documents, or online services necessary to conduct business with the city. As in the case for the city's website, the city administrator or his or her designee will be responsible for the content and upkeep of any social media sites. Whenever possible, all city social media sites shall comply with all appropriate city policies and standards. Any exceptions must be approved by the city administrator or his or her designee. City social media sites are subject to the Pennsylvania right to know law. Any content maintained in a social media format that is related to the city business, including a list of subscribers and posted communications, is a public record except to the extent that such content includes information that is exempt from disclosure pursuant to the right to know law. Content related to city business shall be maintained in an accessible format so that it can be produced in response to a record request. Whenever possible, such sites shall clearly indicate that any articles and any other content posted or submitted for posting may be subject to public disclosure pursuant to the right to know law. Users shall be notified that public disclosures must be directed to the open records officer or her designee. Pennsylvania law enactable city records retention schedules apply to social media formats and social media contents and unless otherwise addressed in the specific social media standard. The city will approach the use of social media tools as consistently as possible. All new social media tools proposed by the city shall be pre-approved by the city administrator or his or her designee. Posting on social media sites of documents, software, and other information protected by the copyright laws without proper authorization by the copyright owners is prohibited. Copyright protection applies to any document, photo, software, or information unless it is specifically marked as public, or copyrighted or freehold. In the absence of any specific copyright markings, materials, and information should be considered copyright protected. The city assumes no responsibility for reviewing, ascertaining, or policy copyright material that may be posted on social media sites. Terms of use: public visitors. Users and visitors to social media sites shall be notified that the intended purpose of the site is to serve as a mechanism for communication between city departments and members of the public. However, residents' posts or direct messages to any social media site affiliated with the city do not serve as formal requests for service from the city. Any citizen needing a response from the city should call, email, or visit the appropriate department. City social media sites, articles, and comments containing in the following forms of content are expressly prohibited. Comments not typically related to the particular city's social media article being commented on. Comments in support or opposition to political candidates, campaigns, or ballot measures. Profane language or content. Content that is threatening, intimidating, harassing, hostile, offensive, or that promotes, fosters, or perpetuates discrimination on the basis of race, creed, color, age, religion, gender, marital status, status with regard to public assistance, national origin, physical or mental disability, or sexual orientation. Sexual content or links to sexual content. Solicitations of commerce or for personal gain. Conduct of encouragement of illegal activity. Privileged information or information restricted in the city. Information that may tend to compromise the safety or security of the public or public infrastructure systems. Content that violates the legal ownership interest of any other party. Any content not otherwise specified herein that violates federal, state, or local laws. Comments made by the public on the city's social media sites do not reflect in any way the opinions or positions of the city of Shamokin or its elected officials, agents, officers, staff, and/or employees. These guidelines and the entire adopted policy will be displayed to users or made available by hyperlink. The city reserves the right to restrict or remove any content that is deemed in violation of this policy. Rules for authorized users. When posting on the city's social sites, it shall be accurate and honest, be consistent with the city's social media policies, correct errors promptly as needed, post in a professional, non-confrontational manner with the goal of relaying information, informative material, respond to public comments and direct messages when commenting. Almost done. Authorized users are prohibited from posting any and all the following. Any information that is subject to attorney-client privilege as determined by the city solicitor or related to potential or ongoing litigation involving the city. Comments that are defamatory, libelous, discriminatory, threatening, harassing, disparaging, obscene, profane, illegal, or otherwise offensive. Political comments or political campaign material, including any endorsement of a political party or candidates. Comments that are personal, sensitive, or confidential about any person or entity. Confidential or privileged information of the city or any information is not for public consumption. Endorsements or advertisement of any product, business, or commercial services. This does not preclude the expression of gratitude or recognition of any kind of contributions. Information or content that is personal in nature and does not relate to the city's business. Photographs of employees or members of the public without written or verbal permission. Any other information is not public in nature or promotes community or public good. Information is false or misleading. Postings shall be clear and free of ambiguous statements. Requests for private information will be denied. Authorized users may instruct requesters to contact the city in a more private, acceptable manner if appropriate. The city's social media sites may accept all likes or follow requests, or the city will not reciprocate all likes or follow requests and is not obligated to do so. The city would only accept reciprocal those requests from individuals, government entities, and their nonprofit organizations. The city may not block any other social media user in the city's sole discretion if such user posts comments that violate this policy. If any of these provisions are declared to be illegal, it doesn't affect this document. This policy would supersede any other prior policies. This policy shall become effective immediately. Yes, that is it. Wow, what's a mouthful?
maybe we should give you a 3-minute pause.
I'm sorry?
I said, maybe we should give you a 3-minute pause.
I would have appreciated it. So, is there a motion?
We don't need a number
After all that.
It's a resolution, so what you need to do is take what was 2 and move it to 3. And,
Okay,
okay, so we're not using number 4s. Those are 2 ordinances.
I understand, but we still need a motion if,
Yes.
I'll make a motion
as long as you don't ask me to remove
on the
it.
resolution of social media policy. That's right.
I'll second it since I brought it.
Take on your question.
So,
I just wondering what the second page.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Milbrand, please pay attention to a copy. But if I give you a copy, you can read it before you go to bed. Okay, Councilman Milbrand,
Yes.
Councilwoman Machewski, Councilwoman Booger,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ennis,
Yes.
Mayor Over.
Yes.
Motion carries, 4 in favor.
Thank you. The next item is first reading of ordinance. This would be 23-03.
Oh, 2.
Oh, 2, I'm sorry. So the first reading, then at the conclusion, asks for a motion to authorize the advertisement if council so desires. That would be an ordinance of the city of Shamokin, Cumberland County, Pennsylvania, approving the third amendment to the municipality's financial recovery plan prepared by the Act 47 coordinator, be it ordained and enacted by the city council of the city of Shamokin County, Cumberland County, Pennsylvania as follows. Section 1. Approval of the third amendment of recovery plan. The third amendment to the municipality's financial recovery act recovery plan, the city of Shamokin is prepared by the Act 47 coordinator, as may be revised for implementation grant to fund 50% of anticipated costs of the downtown manager. Is hereby approved and implementation of same is hereby directed to take place in accordance therewith. All ordinances or parts thereof inconsistent with this amendment are hereby repealed. And this ordinance will take effect 10 days after enactment.
Oh, you're done.
I'm done with that one.
Okay, you're done.
With that,
Need a motion?
Okay, yep. So moved.
I'll second it.
Anything on the question?
Mr. Milbrand,
Yes.
Mrs. Warner,
Yes.
Mrs. Ennis,
Yes.
Mayor Over.
Yes.
Motion carries, 4 days.
The next item would be a first reading of ordinance 2023-3. An ordinance of the city of Shamokin, Northumberland County, Pennsylvania, authorizing the Northumberland County Board of Elections to submit to the electors of the city of Shamokin the question of electing the Government Study Commission at the November 7, 2023 general election. Whereas the Home Rule Charter option plan laws cited as 53 Carbon Statute 2911A authorizes the governing body of the municipality to approve by ordinance the submission of a question to the electors of the municipality to form a government study commission. And whereas the governing body of City of Shamokin desires to submit a question to the city's electors on whether to form a government study commission. Now therefore be it ordained and enacted by the City Council, the City of Shamokin, County of Northumberland, Pennsylvania as follows. Section 1. City Council authorizes the Northumberland County Board of Elections to place the following question before the electors of the City of Shamokin at the November 7, 2023 general election. Quote, shall a government study commission of 7 members be elected to study the existing form of government of the municipality, to consider the advisability of the adoption of an optional form of government or a home rule charter, to recommend the adoption of an option form of government, or to draft and recommend a home rule charter. Section 2, the City Council authorizes the municipal secretary to file a certified copy of this ordinance with the Montgomery County Board of Elections, together with a copy of the question to be submitted to the city electors. Section 3, if any section, clause, provision, or portion of this ordinance shall be held invalid and unconstitutional by any court of competent jurisdiction, such decision shall not affect any other section, clause, provision, or portions of this ordinance, so long as it remains legally enforceable minus the invalid portion. The city reserves the right to amend this ordinance or any portion thereof from time to time as it shall deem advisable in the best interest of the promotion of the purposes and intent of this ordinance and the effective administration thereof. All ordinances or parts thereof with this amendment are hereby repealed. This ordinance, section 5, this ordinance is enacted by the council of the city of Shamokin under the authority and act of the legislature dated November 24, 2015, Act number 67, known as the Third Class State Code, and any other applicable law arising from the laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That's it. Motion.
So the motion,
After that reading, it would just merely be a motion to authorize the advertisement.
So,
I'll second that.
anything on the question?
Mr. Milburn?
No.
Mrs. Williams?
yes.
Mrs. Ennis?
Yes.
Mayor Holder?
Yeah.
We have 3 yeas, 1 nay, 1 absent.
I have nothing further.
Citizen comments. Announcements. Oh, he already had his time.
I didn't go here to, when he read section 1. And Mrs. Moyer, coming back to you again. Section 1 of the 23-3, the last couple sentences there, about the Government Study Commission in question, to recommend the Home Rule Charter. What is this commission gonna study?
You.
I've been studying this for 6 years and what are they gonna study?
Well, it might be semantics, too.
I get it, but you've been here 10 years. I'm not disrespecting you. You've been here 10 years. You were a top dog in last year's election. What is this government commission gonna study? Are they gonna tell you what yous are doing wrong? We don't have an administrator we paid, and that's no disrespect to him. I also see on here, we're gonna pay a consultant to manage that $2.6 some million. 1, 2, 3, how many people here have an accounting degree? We can't manage that money. How much are we gonna blow out at 2.6 for the downtown makeover on consultants? Like, I mean, is this even real life that's going on here? I just don't. I'm just so disappointed that this would even be voted on again. It's like a slap in the face to taxpayers. Rick, I'm sorry, but I mean, this was principles you ran against, and now you voted for it. I don't, disappointed to say the least. In the council, I praise you, Billy, for standing your ground, I really do. But the answer is getting on the floor in Harrisburg. How many are retired here? We can go down and get there.
Oh, I'll know.
Get there. Joanne Starr, take me to the floor. Culver, take me to the floor. Get me in front of the assembly. They're down there working on nonsense ordinance or legislation all the time. I'm sure we can get backing from other municipalities, but this blows my mind. I want to know what the Government Study Commission is going to study. What are they going to tell you that you don't already know? And why can't anybody from the public generally have conversation with members of council if anybody's available to have suggestions? I think people have done that for years. And I think he nailed it when he read the last paragraph there, or last couple sentences of section 1, to recommend the charter, to take the cap off the EIT and break the taxpayers' backs again. I'm officially announcing my candidacy for that board when it passes the next ordinance. I spent the time and money shooting it down the first 2 times, and the voters stood with me, and I'm gonna do the same this time. I will make sure that if that is passed, every single person in this community will know what's going on here. Every person. Because if the chains come off, I'm coming. Same thing I said when I ran in 21, it was successful. It's a shame I only had a couple months here. And I think the last year and a half, things have been a lot different up here and around our community. It's a reflection of everybody here. Just look at it. Thanks.
We need to adjourn so you can have your, so to say, hearing.
No, this doesn't, I misspoke, this doesn't have to be a hearing, this just has to be an opportunity for me to hear, is anyone here to discuss CDBG potential projects for 2023? No. What's that?
You're doing good.
Thanks. There was a gentleman here earlier and a gentleman who showed up the last time that we had a meeting about this who, oh, you're gonna gavel me already, I'm sorry, I have a few
Oh,
more
no,
minutes.
they told me we were adjourned.
Yeah, we are.
It's gonna be yours.
Oh, and then before be, oh, no, well, if you want to do it,
No,
that's
just-
fine.
Just, did he, apparently, I would have to say, having not been part of that conversation, that he has something that he wanted to say. So if you are at liberty to share,
Yeah.
if it's related
Yes,
to what you're, talking to me about this afternoon, then.
yes. No, I just have to disclose any public recommendations. There was a gentleman here who was interested and asked questions about the possibility of using CDBG funding to put in a disabled area at the pool. He brought that up at the last meeting, he brought it up again to me today.
He wasn't here this evening for that purpose.
Well, he talked to me before it.
Oh, okay, because he just came up here tonight to discuss something with you.
No, I'm just disclosing
Okay.
that there is interest by a citizen in that. I'm just disclosing his interest, not commenting on either way, the choice is yours, I can give you more information unless however you decide. The other uses for CDBG money, it's estimated between the city of Shamokin was granted $308,000 and change in CDBG funds, of which 18% or $55,447 is paid to CEDACOG for administration of those funds. With the remaining $252,594.44, City Manager Bob Slavy recommends allocating 30%, approximately $75,778.33 to the elimination of snow and light, and the remaining 70% to the downtown streets reconstruction, approximately $176,816.11. And those were the streets recommended to us today when we talked to Kevin.
And those are the same streets that had to get bumped off going back to just before the COVID and also after the COVID. So we're going back several years of something that we had hoped to take care of, put in, but now we're going to be able to.
Yeah.
So that's what this is about.
Yep, and
And God knows, we certainly don't have to work very hard to find some blighted properties that need to be torn down like yesterday.
right. And you do have funding available, we need to get you, we have to look into the ERs, we'll have a report back next week about moving forward with demolitions.
Okay, you done with that?
Yeah, the next step will be, the final hearing, and, you can put your project on at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you both.
I appreciate it.
You'll see Tanya from here on out.
Oh, she's nice and quiet.
I know, you're waiting to get rid of me, it's okay.
No,
My fun
never.
Now, aren't you going to retire at the end of the month?
I am.
Good for you. Congratulations.
And that's what I tried to accomplish, but you give it a crazy one with that.
Thank you for that. Yes,
Thank you for all your.
Oh, yeah.
For
Thank you.
some time now, since you Congress, joining the city. You've been a great help to me in my position, and she never turned me down.
not my job to turn you down.
I say thank you for that.
Thanks to all of you. It's been great. I just, my energy's flagging, so it's time to follow a new path, but I enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, enjoy it.
I will.
You did a great job.
Thank you very
You
much.
did.
This meeting is adjourned.
I gotta take these.